Welcome to another episode of the Strategic Cybersecurity channel brought to you by NKFP. So, if you are new to this channel, thanks for joining us. Thanks for turning in. We are happy, we are glad to have you. Today, we are diving second episode of how the CISO profession evolved over the past 20 years. Yesterday, we talked about the first generation of CISO. The first generation of CISO who were mostly security engineer that was responsible to deploy firewalls, IDS, IPS, centralized antivirus solution. They lay the ground for all the technical ground that we see on organization. We say this is the work of the first generation of CISO. They used, the bread and butter was selling security project, managing project, but all the work that was being done at that time, they have no clue of the organizational structure. It was not aligned most of the time with the business goal. They were most viewed as a cost center. Second generation of CISO, that is the main topic of today. As all more vertical, what we observe a shift at the end of year 2010. Some vertical market get more and more regulated. You see healthcare and financial sector. So what is the implication of this tight regulation vertical market? We're going to have more rules. So the due care, the due diligence of organization are going to be more strict. And what create the birth of the second generation of CISO. Mostly the second generation of CISO, they are going to lay out a security strategy. But that security strategy, guess what, is going to be driven by external factors, because highly regulated vertical market like financial or healthcare. So the security strategy is going to be based on the framework or standards for those specific sectors, right? So we call the CISO 2.0 that the compliance CISO, basically. And most CISO will recognize themselves in this second generation term, because what is the key characteristic here? They are going to have a broad security strategy that's going to take all the control of the framework. They understand this is the beginning of risk-based approach. That is good. It's a 100% shift from the first generation of CISO. Risk-based approach, qualitative risk analysis. They are going to use the risk register to transfer risks to departments. They are going to have some initiative at different point of view. They are going to sell compliance as the state of art for cybersecurity, but being compliance, as we used to say, doesn't mean being secure. What is most of the drawback of this is that, as for the first generation of CISO, they are still viewed as a cost center. Why? Because they don't translate. They are not a business enabler for the organization. So, and they don't. One of the drawbacks is that when you have an overall strategy with all the control of a framework, it's very difficult to prioritize the part that we need to focus on, because since you don't understand the profit center, how the organization is going to drive revenue, you don't understand that. You don't understand at that time that you cannot focus on the assets that matter the most, the crown jewels of the organization. So organizations that are led by CISO 2.0 or the second generation of CISO, most of the time, they are doing a lot of things, but they are not doing the thing that really matters. Most of the time, they they will have that C title for like an executive, but it's not a real C title because their communication is going to be proxy or channeled through another VP before reaching the top level of the organization. So risk-based approach, qualitative, risk register, you transfer the risk to department, but you are still not aligned because what is driving your strategy, your cybersecurity strategy, is external factors that is coming from the framework, the standards, not the internal driver of the organization. So that is the major difference from first generation, the second iteration. The second iteration is a much more improvement of the first one. So, but there's still room for improvement. That is will be the topic of tomorrow. We're going to focus on the third generation of CISO. Until then, thanks for watching and stay tuned. Bye.